is faulty. The falsehood will tell you facts aren't fact.
Mystery font 42. Open to it. You see, I found a message, or a message was sounded at me, and when it thudded, I looked at it. And good golly, what folly. Let's have a gander, shall we? So this is a video by an excellent creator that looks at targeting by a bigot. Let's first of all take a look at the video that she created.
This needs to fucking end. And I know some of my supporters will come on here and say, please try to keep it classy. Don't cuss too much. Why do you say the F word all the time? Because if you receive threats like these every single fucking day, you would do the exact same thing. I'm going to show you the message, but I want you to know I've been called countless things. I've been made fun of. I've been told to go back to my own country. I don't give a shit because these people don't know me from shit. But when you tell me that I deserve to be tortured too, you will be famous on TikTok, Instagram, and Facebook. I want this to reach him and his friends and family. So I'm just going to show you a split second of his message. I don't want this taken down or flagged. So tap to pause or take a screenshot and then read it. Here's his account. If you know this guy, please let him know that he hasn't just been reported on this platform. I've reported him to law enforcement. And what really makes me sick is that I know that he probably would never message a man the exact same message because he's a fucking coward and misogynistic. This needs to fucking end. And I know.
As I'm one to not let predators walk about swinging their weapons at people's faces,
Some of my
sent this ridiculous person
supporters will come on here and say,
I sent this ridiculous person a message, and my message was, Nazis meet boundaries of steel. If you menace and terrorize people, your lynch mob will eventually turn on you, boy, or your lynch mob will be wiped off the face of the earth by people who eventually recognize Project 2025 is a Confederacy takeover of the country. You are a violent menace to society. Get therapy because you need help. Looking for more Nazis or more victims is called enabling. If you need mental health care, and you need mental health care help, Nazi. Surprisingly, or not surprisingly, he sent me the same message, and I imagine he's going to look for men who he feels comfortable sending this to. Very interesting and dangerous for someone to be so unmasked. It makes me wonder if he is law enforcement or has people who are friends in law enforcement, only because what is it that makes him feel comfortable to proselytize this hate and to try to spread it? It's deadly. It's deadly. This is terrorism. Um, it's interesting. Disgusting, woke. Um, I really feel like woke has become, for these MAGA folks, just a container. It's just a container for a bullseye, and they throw everything into the bullseye and it fills up the container with all the shit they want to throw at wokeness. But it seems very clear from another interaction I had in the street yesterday that people who are assailing wokeness have certain people in mind, and definitely have targeting empathy in mind and people who are empathetic, but also certainly these are racists, these are bigots. And they both want to evade that and want us to notice it. They both want us to feel threatened specifically and have plausible deniability. And, you know, eventually vigilantes will. Now that seems to sort of frame it as someone else. And then he says, we'll see to it. So this is not a very smart person. This is definitely somebody who is deranged by the syndrome Trump has tried to rubber onto other people's glue. But for real, what a disgusting display of roguish, simpleton kind of behavior. Let's see here. We have, I believe, right here we go. So this is the Ku Klux Kuck in question. This is the boy we're dealing with. This Ku Klux Kuck, Nazi child, wants to hurt people and is threatening them and sharing a smiling face as his masthead. So this is somebody who is a danger to himself and others. And the cry for help he delivers is most certainly maybe the only one he knows how to give. But this is what it looks like. We have, you know, Nazis engaging in this brown shirting and sort of trying to, like Moms for Liberty and the Heritage Foundation, create a probably the sort of Heritage Foundation, heritage of white people who talk propriety, and then when they think, you know, I could probably get away with stealing this person's home and neighborhood, then they just go for it. It's time for poison wool blankets. And it looks like Richard Pasterick is cozy. He is inoculated against the poison wall. He is happy to sow distortions in reality that destroy lives, in part by destroying trust. I think a lot of the time when people reach out with this kind of terrorism, they are asking to be put in their place. Not that anyone needs to be put in their place, but they are asking for the kind version of that, for boundaries. They just really, really need to be impenetrable, because someone like this is so demoralized that they think carrying out demoralization on other people empowers them. It is, however, possible, though, to recognize what you're become a part of. And this sad, Curtis Yarvin-looking gentleman doesn't seem gentle and doesn't seem like a man. I think most important of all is just to make it really clear to Ku Klux Kucks and just generally to Nazi fucks like this rancid sculpting of behavior, is that calling yourself superior is a perfect encapsulation of confession. It is a perfect confession that you are inferior, that you, Richard Pasterick, are inferior to the people that you need to destroy, you want to destroy. White supremacy is evidence that there actually may be inferiority. I think most of us have thought that it's just not the case that there are some people who are superior to others, but I think white supremacists have finally proven that there is a group who are, at least functionally and behaviorally, truly inferior, and those are white supremacist patriarchal terrorists, like this incel child, who one day may be a man. Death threats, period. Impressive macho stunts. Wow, you sent the message to a man, period. If you're surrounded by I should ask whether or not you have ever been or met a man, period. Maybe it's just with the lack of exposure that you have never seen healthy masculinity before, period. It's not your fault if you've never been loved or accepted by people who are kind, period. It's not your fault if you were raised and raped and tortured, as is so often the case with Nazis, by people who were supposed to protect you, period. However, your behavior is illegal and provocative of violence, comma, and it's clear that that's your intent, period. As I said before, that is dangerous to you as well as to others, period. There is no tolerance for intolerance, period. Another way to find out what that means is to keep fucking around, period. Maybe you should read a book, comma, or maybe learn to read, period. Parentheses. Instead of relying on speech to text and auto-dictate, period. He sent his message only 3 hours ago. Who knows? Maybe we'll even hear back. But I think one point to make is that again and again, the left works to show boundaries and say, you're being dangerous and you should stop doing that. We really want to be doing our lives and doing the cool stuff that even we sometimes do with people who don't totally agree with. You know, building a society and working to find common language by building together. This is just warish language. The message that he sent to the creator previous and again to me, you're talking about erasure and speaking of people as a group you've already decided to remove. And that demonstrates contempt for humanity, which sadly demonstrates contempt for self. And I'm not going to wait around for Richard Pasterick to respond, nor to evolve or grow up. But I will encourage it and move on. I encourage this sad, violent person to, I encourage them to get therapy because the behavior is not okay, and it is the kind of thing where this is find out because you fucked around kind of shit. Little wee baby child. This is the kind of stuff that you learn the rules of by self-invitation. It's gross, and it's anti-Christ, and it's anti-American to dog whistle and threaten and act towards extermination of people. We have everything here except the third act. And that, as far as we know, is Dick Pastor Dick. And that's someone to see coming. We have fascism. We have KKKucks coming out of the woodwork. And we are the reality distortion fielding. Part of what we need to tend is reality, including remembering and reconstituting and remembering again to be our full membership of self or community, that we do not deserve to be treated like this. We do not deserve to have rancid behavior from KKK and Nazis. We don't. We deserve love. And that's true for all of us. We are the reality distortion fielding. And humanity knows humanity. Don't we?
Well, there's someone who has a ton of allegations in this, and they're cleared and all that. But people would say to me, "It's like, oh, my friend," and I go, I've hung out with this person many times, been on sets, this and that. I'm from my experience, I've never seen this. I've never seen this. So I'm not saying you're lying. I'm just saying that I've never seen this, and you don't know the person near as well as I do. So it's. I think things are getting better.
They are.
Whatever happened to being kind and forgiving and letting people have second chances,
but it's not. It's even about that. It's a certain group of people.
Right.
It's a certain minority group of people who are creating the issue.
Yes.
Very small.
Yeah.
And they're the ones who are creating the problem. And they're the ones, again, who weren't there, who know nothing about it. I mean,
because
I could open up and say, let me tell you what so-and-so did. Let me tell you who had an affair with who was, blah, blah, blah. And, we're talking about that whole, people come and say, well, you were the lead in the show. You had the power dynamic. People maybe didn't want to say anything. Hold on a second. Let's just rewind a little bit. The power dynamic, that is, I didn't even look at it that way.
Yeah.
Look at it that way. No, it was about silly fun. But,
yeah.
There's other aspects of that. It just reminds me of like when we were, the power dynamic thing, we would be asked to work for free at times by production. They'd come and say, can you give us an hour? Can you give us a half an hour? And, people are saying, well, why, if you did the nude scenes, why did you bother doing them? Because you felt like you had to do them because it was written in the script. Because when we were one time asked about working for an hour overtime for nothing, and I would go around the cast and the company and say, do we want to do this, guys, to finish? And everyone would, then say yes. So again, I was basically in a way being used to make that decision.
Yeah.
But I didn't see it that way as being used. I was doing it because I felt we wanted to get it done. However, there was one night where I said, because one of the cast members came to me and they said, it's my anniversary with my wife. I don't want to work. So I then said to production, no, we're not going to do it. And the next day I got cleaned for how dare you stop production.
I mean,
So there's a lot of stuff
yeah,
that went on
Yeah.
that wasn't right,
right.
you know, that people did and it was silly and or fun and blah, blah, blah. Can we just move on?
Yeah,
I'm like, can we just move on from it now?
yeah. But do you feel like, you definitely feel like it is going in a different direction? Do you feel like, you know,
I just did a concert tour in the UK.
great.
And the thing that I've noticed and learned, again, that minority, brush them aside. And now that it's happened, it's always going to be there. And I have to accept that and I have to deal with that. And anything I put online, for instance, when this goes up, there's going to be comments. Of course
Yeah.
there are. And I'm ready for that. So, and also, I'm not going to read them. I've said my piece and I've moved on, and I'm probably not going to talk about it much anymore if I'm asked or if I'm challenged by it. Then
Right.
But I'm ready to speak up and push back.
Are you sorry for your behavior from the past?
But when to say I'm sorry for the behavior in the past, I didn't do it any way malicious. I didn't do it to harm anybody.
Right.
I didn't do it to make anybody feel bad.
But do you think it was wrong?
I think it was probably daft and dumb of me to do it.
Him too. Holy shit. That was disgusting. That's who John Barrowman is? Holy fuck. That is some Kevin Spacey, Louis C.K., Bill Cosby, Donald Trump bullshit. Golden boy sociopath cannot rewrite anything that his brain wrote as he was golden boy. He didn't even think of the power dynamic. The autoplay that came after what I shared took my attention. And I just watched John Barrowman absolutely Harvey Wine from stem to steen about can we just move on? Rancid. rancid, 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 rapist behavior. That is not okay. Asked, sure, okay, you say your intent was playful, but do you understand, or do you now understand something different about that behavior? Do you regret doing that, or do you think that it was a good thing that you did it, or that it was a bad thing to do? And he says he can't think of it as a bad thing to do because he didn't mean anything bad by it. So his intent, or his experience, which he frames around intent that has no ill will, because Golden Boy, he says he didn't mean it in any malicious way. And so he doesn't feel like it's something to apologize for or was bad. You can't understand John Barrowman. Holy shit, I can't believe that. I can't believe it. It's sociopathic. It's narcissism. Or just the narcissistic behavior of capitalistic society, or the narcissistic behavior of the brain pathway of Darvo, of deny, attack, reverse victim and offender. And that's where he's at, for sure. Michael Rosenbaum's show can be pretty good. I mean, I enjoy the conversations, I guess, or getting little bits into sometimes things that I like. It's definitely a pretty explicitly kind of heterosexual male lens. It seems like a kind of a, not exceptionally conservative, but intelligent conversation, and mindful and emotionally intelligent. And I suppose there are areas that it's not going into, but where it goes, I tend to appreciate. And I find that there's some self-reflection about stuff, it seems like, from him and his guests. And I don't see it as just posing at working for healthiness, soundness of like wellness of personhood, so we treat people well. I just saw a clip. I didn't see the whole thing. And I wasn't really paying attention for a minute. It just kind of had autoplayed. And I couldn't believe my ears. In terms of John Barrowman just not getting it at all. Not getting it. And I think Michael Rosenbaum was trying to like let him walk there and just kind of, or keep walking him to like towards the water of saying, I think of that behavior and I'm like, I'm having fun, like I'm being playful, like this isn't a power thing, and like I'm having fun. And I think of that, and I have to also like, I now realize I can't, in reality, if I have to displace other people's viewpoint of that moment and like can't hear not just that somebody feels differently about it, but someone was hurt. I can't just dismiss it, especially if it's multiple people or if it's a behavior that happened repeatedly. And maybe isn't fun if you're not Golden Boy, who's just unquestioned and everything's great, and of course everybody knows it's a joke, but it's fun, and like they're lucky because it's you, and maybe it doesn't turn out to be a joke when you have fun later that night, but it was just a joke. Or like, what are you cultivating? Because my recollection is the thing with John Barrowman was about like exposing himself to people unwantedly, or maybe stuff like that, or kissing people or something. There was some kind of, breach of people's consent in some ways where it's like, that's what I recall, and where it's like, that's not funny, that's a boundary, and I don't like it. I say no. Like, both that was a boundary crossed, and I would not have consented to that. I didn't consent to it. It's a thing to which I need to consent for it to happen. And it happened, so it is a thing that did happen and was wrong. Like, if someone says you hurt me, and you're like, no, I didn't, I think I'm giving you a playful backhand as we're having this conversation, and you're like, whoa, why did you hit me? Like, that was super messed up. And, and this creepy, you're playing it off like this is a little play, and that's not stylish or funny. Like, I don't know why did that, ow, that wasn't even that hard, but that didn't feel good, and the person is just sitting there with their triumphant dramatic slap, hand extended still, saying like, what, that was hilarious, oh my God. You don't get it, that was so hilarious. Well, the capacity to understand and to hear when somebody says, hey, ouch, or you're stepping on me, or I can't breathe, get off my neck, or like if you don't want to hear someone saying ouch, or I can't breathe, or that is not respectful, or get out, if you can't hear no, or can't hear a boundary, like, whoa, that's, nope. And you erase it as you erase other people's experience. Like, Barrowman just seems to be a narcissist who's not able to deal with reality. And if you have such a sense of privilege that, like, exposing yourself or touching people with your penis or whatever it was something that he says is like a prank. I think it was exposure, but it's like you can't just call anything a prank. You can't just call anything a joke. I mean, you can, but it's not. It's certainly not only a joke. And sure, breaking boundaries in ways can be innovative in something, but abuse, like the shittiness, my God. He hasn't heard a fucking word. John Barrowman hasn't heard a word. He's saying, can we get over it? And like, can we get past this? Can we move on? And he can't say, I hurt people. it's taken me a learning curve that I could hurt people as bad as them actually being hurt, and not just they were surprised and and they're jealous because I'm so popular and they don't understand. I just I'm playful and it's just me. It's just you, I think, is kind of the vibe. It's a Trumpian, I am the exception, I trump the situation, I won't question, I won't be questioned. Because what's on the other side of that is that if he realizes, if he says, actually I do, if he gets to a place where he is tracking someone else's experience of that and listening to it, like reading a story as if it's about his twin or his daughter or his mother or him or just anyone, reading a story of that person's experience, that they're just there to do a show, and this guy who's, a foot taller than them and the star of the show, and this is their first gig, or whoever doesn't, someone is asserting this thing and they just do this, and it's oh yeah, I'm just breaking this boundary. But if you do it again, then you're not breaking the boundary, you're colonizing. If you break the boundary and stay, you are metaspreads density. And someone's yuck, oh my God, I have a partner. I don't like that. That familiarity was just not okay. What that, that's assault. I don't, you don't have to touch me with that for that to be fucking inappropriate. Oh, I'm kidding. I do this all the time. Everybody laughs. You don't get it. It's that the line has punch, dude. It's that the line has punch. And that you crossed the line. I can't believe how dumb that is. I can't tell from that clip either, what's the tone of, does Michael Rosenbaum say, so look, I think that's an issue. I think we disagree on this. I wonder if Michael Rosenbaum tells John Barrowman, that sounds like Trump. That sounds like someone coming in and tickling 14-year-old girls who are half-dressed, saying, oh, you're not doing anything wrong. I own the pageant. I'm just checking out everything. And walking through, and the room's going, what the fuck? And somebody later says, I came to open and check on the girls, and I saw you, looking at them half-clothed. Why are you in the room? Oh, they know it's fine. They know I own the pageant. Well, that doesn't make that okay. That's egregious. And also, do you, just in terms of them, not a watching eye, do you see that that's not correct? Do you see that you whether or not you own the pageant, and it doesn't make it better that you have power. You have power. You have influence in this situation. That's not, do you not see this? Well, that's not how I meant it. And they should be, they were very excited. They and it's exciting to be around, a winner, and, you can't or will not he just gave Me Too the finger. He just gave Me Too the finger. It's just fucking unacceptable. I had a feeling that there was some vanity there that was problematic. There's just something about yeah. There's nothing wrong with belief in self, but is it belief in self to say that as long as I'm having fun, I haven't hurt anyone? I don't mean to be, I mean, that's disgusting behavior. I hope that this opens up a door where people, I mean, he very, very full-chestedly said, we just, you know, I just want to move on. And I wonder what other stuff has happened. I wonder what else he's done, and I wonder if he will work again. That's disgusting. Anyway, okay. So I think we got the entire bit from the YouTube broadcast earlier that was meant also to play on Instagram now played of this abusive lurker who was going after, yes, that's right, Richard Pasterick. Yuck. I think that played out and then led into what I ended up watching, which was a horrific clip of an interview, including John Barrowman. Wow. I did not expect rape culture to advance from John Barrowman today, but hopefully Michael Rosenbaum finds, hopefully Michael Rosenbaum says what's up. Anyway, good gracious. Good gray array. We are the reality distortion fielding. And fielding with confidence that has one of my own ilk. You see, it's a comfort because at least you understand what it means that my watch is broken. At least I have the confidence that I'm with another professional, decent person. Have you confidence in me to lend me your watch until tomorrow? A politician does the same thing as the first person called con artist. They ask us to give confidence that we might trust them to hold the watch. And a person's timepiece is not entirely different from one person's agency or executive function. And if they are a leader to preside for all in a country, then being the one who is holding the timepiece, as in what time it is, what's happening, and who is an enemy, and how and where walls are created, and to hold or guard against what. And if they should threaten and foment a bandwidth of falsehood, as if lying were smart. And if they come into debates as a candidate saying it's all going to be rigged and creating distrust and fear, even when advised, this really is bizarre because it really foments a sense of distrust and destabilizing intent potentially. Why is this happening? Well, it's going to be rigged. And so he's asked in the first, I believe, debate with Clinton, will you follow the rules of the election? With everything you're saying, there's a tradition, and there's, Chris Matthews could have said it better, but he said essentially, will you promise, like your vice presidential running mate has said, as all candidates say, will you agree to adhere to the rules of the election, and that the will of the voters will resound and be accepted? You'll accept the outcome of the election, and will you, if you are in office and are voted out, will you honor the peaceful transfer of power? And he says, I'll keep you in suspense. That's treachery right there. It's truly treacherous, because how you attain and retire or pass on the watch is part of the job of the watch. How you adhere to the contest and what the contest is, and where the ground floor is, and admitting and understanding and not attacking the idea that the terms of conditions are the term, or the terms and conditions of office are the terms and conditions. Your duty is your duty. You swear to what you swear to. You swear to what the president swears to. You don't later say, I crossed my fingers during that one, but those other ones I'll accept until, I'll declassify it with my mind later. He had the most clear chance, in fact, scrutiny upon him because of such frequent hokum blowing from him and from others, but especially from him, casting aspersions on the process and everything. So he's asked, will you follow the rules? Will you believe the will of the voters and accept it? And if you're in office and they vote you out, will you leave peacefully? And he says, I won't tell you right now. I won't tell you right now. I'll tell you at the time. I won't tell you right now. I'll keep you in suspense. That is a coercive move to manhandle and in fact say, I'll tell you if I win. I'll tell you if I win. If Chris Matthews or the Secret Service or Hillary Clinton or someone doesn't stop the proceedings and say, that's totally unacceptable. If that's not your final answer, please explain why you would try to renegotiate the terms of office, as in what contest shows correctly and adhering to letting the people have their say. It's just insane. We could have seen it then. We could have seen it earlier. He's just a liar who doesn't feel pain when he lies. He doesn't feel pain. He likely feels joy, and he's having an experience that is kind of a John Barrowman experience, that he is sipping his Kool-Aid. He is sipping his own Kool-Aid. And there is confabulation. So he didn't do the thing that people experienced. They just didn't get it. It wasn't supposed to be sexual assault. Come on, we're having fun. I didn't mean, I was attractive and sexy and not creepy at all. So just because you're fighting back, I'm like, well, how hot for you? Come on, everybody wants this. It's just sociopathic inability and unwillingness to receive disfavor as a reason for reflection, self-scrutiny, meditation, or listening, working to grow understanding. It's so disappointing. It's so disappointing. Oh, man. Anyway, hopefully good comes of it. Hopefully he is called out by people that he even knows and works with, or by enough people such, or eloquently such, that it lands and he hears it, or at least realizes that there was some, at least sense that there was an objective wrong within what he's saying. But basically, it does knit pretty fitly with the earlier part. I didn't expect to see it, but let's maybe take a look, actually.
Well, there's someone who has a ton of allegations in this, and they're cleared and all that, but people would say to me, it's, oh, my friend, and I go, I hung out with this person many times, been on sets, this and that. I'm from my experience, I've never seen this. I've never seen this. So I'm not saying you're lying. I'm just saying that I've never seen this, and you don't know the person near as well as I do. So it's. I think things are getting better.
They are.
Whatever happened to being kind and forgiving and letting people have second chances.
But it's not. It's even about that. It's a certain group of people.
Right.
It's a certain minority group of people who are creating the issue, very small. And they're the ones who are creating the problem. And they're the ones, again, who weren't there. Who know?
The issue, the problem, very small minority. How small does the minority need to get before you can dismiss it as not mattering if people are mistreated or hurt? And now, if it wasn't you, if it was just somebody who isn't the perfect human action figure that everyone would want to be, if they weren't God like you, and they did that, they're not golden boy like you, John. Like, his framing is just insane, and it makes me afraid. I hope I'm wrong, but it sounds like these guys are just kind of standing off against Me Too, as if there's really much wrong. I don't think there's really anything wrong with Me Too. I think things can be done badly or well, and this is some misogynist, patriarchal, terrorist sounding shit directly from John Barrowman. Like, this is fucking nonsense. So what it sounds like is he's saying that the problem that they're talking about, or at least the problem that John Barrowman is talking about, is that people aren't nice and don't give second chances, and this, well, he's framing it. He is centered in this. Men, or people who receive allegations, who are generally men, and in his case, men in a powerful position, he disregards. It's just, this is DARVO. This is deny, attack, reverse, victim, and offender. You're saying there's a whole layering of like, I didn't do it, and if I did, I didn't mean to, and if you know, and it's just, it's not self-reflection. It's empty defense of perceived points attributed to an argument. He's put out by how people didn't lavishly remember every moment of his behavior when he was crossing boundaries. Very Trumpian. Very Trumpian. Very Trumpian. How strange. Like the reality distortion field on this guy, it is just narcissistic. I mean, you'll believe a man can fly for sure. This is not you'll believe a man can fly in a good way. This is he's going to step out of a window thinking he's going to levitate. Like, that is some effing hubris. Where else does this go? So he's just said, he's talked about a problem, and it seems like the problem is people not just understanding, hey, he was just playing around and everybody loves it. And like, I didn't mean to do anything bad, so I didn't do anything bad. No matter what anyone else came to him to say, hey, this experience for me when you did this, or when you did this repeatedly, it wasn't funny. I don't like that. Please don't do that. You know? And he can't hear that it wasn't a funny, sexy experience. And if you say, how could it not have sexual overtones? You know? Well, but I just trust, like, there's no, he's sitting here saying, well, I think he says, can't we just move on? And it's like, he hasn't apologized. He literally speaks right now like he has not apologized and hasn't meant it if he did. He can't say, I did something wrong. Which is an incredible assault to a victim as well. Like, it's happened. People know about it. Someone says, that was inappropriate. It shouldn't have happened. Like, that was offensive to me. And it's within the bandwidth of what, you know, generally speaking, like, this is an HR thing. This is a legal thing. This is consent. And its boundaries and power does matter. And it seems like he just dismisses it all and centers himself. And the problem is people are being so fucking annoying about this. I'm being golden. Why don't they, like, now they're making this a huge thing. No. I hope there's snowballs around him. I hope there's snowballs around him like fucking ice. And I don't mean the, well, that is to say, I just hope that this, that he's made to deal with this. At least to sit in a room and have someone tell him, you have up to now actually totally fucking failed. To understand that when you thought it was funny that you slapped somebody across the face and they said, ow, And you're like, I know, right? And finally people come and say, look, that actually is not okay. Don't do that. You did something wrong. He's like, but I loved it. Everybody loved it. She didn't get it. That people are like, I'm going to clock you right now as hard as I want, but here's the thing. I'll tell you it was a joke, okay? It's a prank. I'm going to wear a ring, but it's a prank. In fact, I'm going to stick this in some poison and salt, and I'm going to fucking hit you in the face. It's a joke. If you don't realize at some point you have gone Manuspread's density, and you're just like, oh yeah, I get to take up all this room. Oh yeah, and I can lay my part on you, and I can open up my pants in front of you, and it's funny. It's so funny. And like I was having a great time, and you ruined it. My God. I hope he doesn't work until I hope he has to get other work. He shouldn't be on a set. This is a predator. He shouldn't be on a set. I mean, this is nonsense. This is an ugly man. What an ugly person. That's what I would say. Anyway, and I don't mean to be rude. I don't mean to be mean, but that is inner ugliness that I did not expect to need to land now. I'm not going to watch the whole thing, but let's go through at least the rest of the clip.
Thing about it. I mean certain minority group of people who are creating the issue.
Yes.
The issue. Again, I don't know the scope, but it sounds like the issue is get away from the golden boy. You didn't get it. I was being sexy and funny. Like, this sounds disgusting.
Yeah. And they're the ones who are creating the problem. And they're the ones, again, who weren't there, who know nothing about it. I mean,
Because
I could open up and say, let me tell you what so-and-so did, let me tell you who had an affair with who was, blah, blah, blah.
So this frames this. Look at the look on his face. Look at his posture. Look at his body attitude. This is high horse looking down, saying, "Well, he's not taking this. He's taking this as like a meaningless cat fight that has no basis and is about they're lashing out at me and I could lash back too." It's fucking nonsense. If this is how he talks about abuse, he is a fucking abuser. He's an abuser. If this is how he talks, no way.
We're talking about that whole people come and say, well, you were the lead in the show, you had the power dynamic, people maybe didn't want to say anything. Hold on a second, let's just rewind a little bit. The power dynamic, that is, I didn't even look at it that way.
Yeah.
Oh my God. It's like he literally just heard about the allegations and the outcome and read over it and is like, he has not processed this at all. My God, I hope Michael tears him a fucking asshole. Holy shit. Holy shit. Indiana Jones is not impressed, man. Oh, God. Oh, God. Oh, my God.
Look at it that way. No, it was about silly fun, but...
Got it. So when Donald Trump is assaulting a 13-year-old girl and it's just about silly fun and she doesn't get that, she's just wrong. She's just wrong. She's just wrong. When someone says a horrific racist joke and people are offended, they're just wrong. They don't get it was a joke. When I keep advances, upon someone happening. I keep trying to kiss them and make these boundary violations. I'm just showing interest. This is how I am with everybody. I'm just affectionate. I'm just playful. It's an invitation. She can do that too. It's not like a one-way street. What the fuck is going on? God, the suspense is killing me now. Because the crazy thing is that this is just posted like this, as if it's normal that he says this. This is some Project 2025 stinking shit, man. Fuck this. For real, I can't fathom how dumb he is. He is stupefied by privilege and total terror that anything could be wrong with like his behavior ever, because if anything were wrong, it would flip the entire boat of his life, I guess. Like nothing would be there if every time he was being funny or accidentally his clothing was a little tight and wet and like every time he was taking over the conversation, every time that he was this, every time that he decided that his best friend's date was his or whatever, it's just his. Like, my toys. My toys. My toys. I need to get back to my toys. Will some of my toys stop snapping at me and bothering me? What the fuck? Rapists, I would imagine, don't necessarily think of it as a power dynamic, and maybe have some difficulty admitting it, and maybe say, hey, it was fun, she liked it. Like, it's baffling. Wow, okay.
Dynamic that is, I didn't even look at it that way.
Yeah.
Look at it that way. No, it was about silly fun, but
Okay.
there's other aspects of that. It just reminds me of like when we were I think the power dynamic thing. We would be asked to work for.
Now he's whatabouting. Like, it's just any little dispute that, there are all these things and people, all this stuff. Like, you just dismissed that there's a power dynamic and said, I didn't even think of it in that way. Oh, when Monica was there, I just, I didn't even think of it in that way. She was a lovely girl and just wonderful to have her around. She was a fantastic intern, and I just felt like we both offered something wonderful to just our little connection there. I didn't think of it in that way. I did not have sexual relations with that woman. I did not think of it in that way. Fuck you.
Free at times by production. They'd come and say, can you give us an hour? Can you give us a half an hour? And,
oh, yeah, no. Darvo. Yeah, no, this is just stuff that happens, but, like, listen to what happened to you. Like, there's all kinds of stuff. This is just, come on. And you meant it to be fun.
People are saying, well, why, if you did the nude scenes, why did you bother doing them? Because you felt like you had to do them because it was written in the script. Because
oh, wow, an opportunity to talk about how attractive you are. And an opportunity to talk about how, like, that was really giving and, like, you actually are kind of victimized there. And, like, but you just, like, got through it and, like, you're objectified, but you're like, look, let's look at persecuted golden boy. The persecution that you've gone through for being this golden. And, like, people can we just move on from when you wrongly took my amazing fun away from me? Can we just move on, please?
We're one time asked about working for an hour overtime for nothing, and I would go around the cast and the company and say, do we want to do this, guys, to finish? And everyone would, then say yes. So again, I was basically in a way being used to make that decision.
Yeah.
But I didn't see it that way as being used. I was doing it because I felt we wanted to get it done.
You just framed it as being used. Look at the look in his eyes. You just framed it as being used. You framed it as being used. That was pretty well in your back pocket. That you're just being magnanimous. Which seems to be more about like, well, hey, you're the one who gets to like pull strings and say like, oh, and hey, maybe not. And like, oh, look at me being so great that I'm going to show my dick on film and da-da-da-da-da-da. And like, courageous and like, but I'm kind of also an object here. And like, look at what's happening to me. We have to think that you're perfect and golden in order to want to listen to you, and that's the bandwidth? This is gross.
However, there was one night where I said, because one of the cast members came to me and they said,
no, wait. This isn't a thing where you're the victim, or where like it's super blown out of proportion, that you're going to make this seem like it's really a big deal when probably somebody was like, hey, we would have worked. Or like, hey man, like that's gonna cost more today, and like we were maybe not get like that. Why didn't you come around and talk to us? Like we'd like to be in on it. And he's like, well, they just screamed. What do we hear?
It's my anniversary with my wife. I don't want to work. So I then said to production, no, we're not going to do it. And the next day I got cleaned for how dare you stop production.
Characterization. Cleaned. And the next day I got cleaned for how dare you stop production. Oh, look at, oh my God, it's just, he's like, I can see my shot landing there in the corner, perfect. My righteous indignation is, and overhead smash. Very well, you've made me unleash the truth, finally. I didn't want to say it, but I am the great one. What the Falcon Crest?
I mean,
so there's a lot of stuff that went on that wasn't right.
Right.
Right. Yeah, there's just, there's a lot of stuff that wasn't right, He can't say about what he did, what I did wasn't right. But he can, it seems like overhype the demonization he allows to himself to spew on these things. To say like, oh yeah, there's a lot of stuff going on. One of the things going on involves consent around like bodily autonomy and sexual harassment as far as I understand. And already the look in his eyes feels different. Seriously, it's fucking Darvo. God, it's gross. Wow. Holy shnikes, it's gross. What the? Okay. That's really baffling. Wow.
That went on that wasn't right. That people did, it was silly and or fun and blah, blah, blah. Can we just move on?
Yeah.
I'm like, can we just move on from it now?
Yeah.
So there's a lot of, I mean, Michael is definitely like, this is feeling a little kind of crunchy under the feet. What do you got me walking in here, buddy? It feels like he's not overjoyed, and I wouldn't be. I mean, I think he doesn't want to, I need to watch. I need to check out more of this. Holy cats! It's just gross.
And but do you feel like you definitely feel like it is going in a different direction? Do you feel like,
I just did a concert tour in the UK. Great. And the thing that I've noticed and learned, again, that minority, brush them aside. And
brush them aside. And I'm assuming again that the minority he's talking about is people who are critical of his sexual predator entitlement to be a sexual predator. To just get to cross boundaries and not hear when people are like, that wasn't fun. I didn't come to an orgy. I didn't expect you to whip out your genitals. He is a rapist. I can't believe this fucking nonsense. I can't believe it. There's more. There's more out there. This is not good. This is not good.
now that it's happened, it's always going to be there. And I have to accept that, and I have to deal with that, and anything.
And you haven't accepted it, and you haven't dealt with it.
Put online, for instance, when this goes up, there's going to be comments. Of course.
He's saying it like, I mean, when I finish raking the leaves, there's going to be some more leaves falling down. It's, for fuck's sake, it is all minimizing, neutering, Darvo. It's fucking gross. I love the look, and I mean, he is maybe just blinking, but I just feel like for sure Indy is with me, and I think Michael might be with me too, and Jack might be with me too, as well as some of the other folks on the wall. Yeah. Wow. I hope Michael just destroys him. I mean, I don't mean anything, but I hope without destroying him, takes apart this fucking reality distortion. Holy shit.
When this goes up, there's going to be comments. Of course there are. And I'm ready for that. So, and also,
No.
I'm not going to read them. I've said my piece and I've moved on, and I'm probably not going to talk about it much anymore if I'm asked or if I'm challenged by it. Then but I'm ready to speak up and push back.
Are you sorry for
Push
your
back
behavior
how?
from the past?
But when to say I'm sorry for the behavior in the past, I didn't do it any way malicious. I didn't do it to harm anybody.
Right.
I didn't do it to make anybody feel bad.
But do you think it was wrong?
I think it was probably daft and dumb of me to do it.
Holy fuck.
People would say to me, it's, oh, my.
Holy fuck. Holy fuck. It was probably daft and dumb. God. That's some Nazi 2025 Project 2025 sounding Handmaid's Tale bullshit. Wow. Yeah. John Barrowman is J.D. Vance, man. He's thinking about the future. He's thinking about the future. Wow, that was gross. Well, I'm hoping Michael takes him apart, or takes apart the entitlement, hopefully in a way that is visible to John so that he sees himself. Because it is this part of himself that he is not seeing, looking at that part of yourself, or being with that part, and saying, like, what is it that makes me need to be impenetrably perfect and not assailable or not improvable? What is it that has me unable to hear someone else's experience and realize, like, oh, if someone came up and did this, and a person's traumatized by it, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if the person who grabbed you and took you down to the couch and started making out with you, and it's like a joke, and like you're in this 10-minute kiss and they're trying to throw their tongue in your mouth and they're kind of on top of you, and it's like, this isn't fun. What the fuck? I could tell you were interested in me, like, well, whether or not that's true. Not now. Not now. Not now. It looks like whatever I was aroused by was a source of negative stimulation and colonization, because you just shattered boundaries and aren't even getting it right now. But I wasn't like, people are not action figures for you. People are not action figures. I can't believe it. Yeah. Wow. It's sad. It's really sad. Anyway, that's kind of the fear I had with this guy. It wasn't really at the front of my mind, but I watched Torchwood, and yeah, I don't think I necessarily finished it, but I watched enough of it. Wow, that's tough. I hope that he gets an education that he can understand. He may not have the emotional maturity or capacity. He may be a narcissist on the level of having no capacity to actually renovate, even in the face of like intervention from people he trusts. He may be just a sociopath. That's tough. Sociopaths can live full, healthy lives. You just have to care about not caring, or steward your particular divergence in a way that is safe for you and others. And I don't hear renovation in this person. That's so sad. Anyway, John Barrowman and Richard Pasterick, or Pasterick? Richard Pasterick. We have yeah, pretty gross. Pretty gross. I did not expect for John Barrowman to become a part of this episode. I did not expect for him to be such a chode. And hopefully Richard Pasterick or Richard Pasterick or Dick Pasteldick or whatever this gentleman's Nazi fantasy is all about, hopefully the fantasy finds therapy to find grounding. What a malevolent, dark triad personality he seems to be, having gone after at least one creator. And in response to my saying, I have similar boundaries that people like you should stay away from with others. He lashes out with the grossness, with the same thing that he gave to her, saying, eventually vigilantes will get your disgusting, woke, domestic terrorist ass. We'll see to it, cunt. I think you might want to find a comma or two it's not really a great mind. At least somehow it's addled or confused that this is living, that this is really what makes a great life. This is who this person is. Woke is a word that has become like such a structure of all the shit that is thrown at whatever the people throwing at it are thinking about. And I think it's about communities that are hated by the Klan, by white supremacist patriarchal terrorists. And because being woke is especially and simply about being aware to administer community and justice within community and foster peace. Standing against abuse by people like this bigot is not terrorism. I imagine he's just alluding in some part or planting significant trust in the executive orders and pronouncements and dictates of the peach, the rotting peach. And I think it's time that we stop the violence of people like Dick Paste. And I think that Dick Paste here I mean, Dick Paster, ick for sure. You definitely give the ick. I just think it's good for people to be aware of folks who choose to menace in this way, and for creators who are attacked like that creator and menaced and terrorized to have backup of community, and that's where it's at. That is where it's at. Yeah. So essentially, in reaction to the video, I said, you know, you're breeding violence. Stop that. And get therapy so that you don't dish that out into the world. And he gives the same threat as he did to the female creator. And I left it with this. And anyway, all the best. And remember, the falsehood has many tentacles, and one of the tentacles flitting about right now keeps snapping its tip like a whip that says, Charlie Kirk was quite a pip. But let's just ring the PSA throughout the USA that Charlie Kirk was KKK, and that Nazi cucks like that Ku Klux fuck don't find tolerance. He was evil. He was a lynch mobber. And it's just important that everybody knows that Charlie Kirk was a Nazi working to indoctrinate and to create lynch mobs. Just so we're all on the same page. Stay safe, Scoop Troop. Stay safe. We are the reality distortion fielding and feeling, and we are in the mystery font with all kinds of material around as I'm sorting through and assembling a showing of the falsehood. So soon again it will be replete and clear for boutique performance of the falsehood song cycle with glow spectrum immersive microtheater. And that. And I will continue to share more of the Bard actions around Minneapolis. I'm sharing criticisms since President Trump has said that we are not allowed to criticize, that it's illegal. It's a good time to make sure that we are doing so to maintain that right. Free speech must hold reproach, the ability to redress grievances. So we are critical in ways that are germane, and we are critical in ways that are germane because we are humans, we are humane, so what we want to say matters. And I'll continue to share more of that. And I love you, and be well, and beware of the falsehood, and beware of those who would tell you not to be woke, because it is simple awareness. And awareness in a world where the lies are so much more normalized, awareness is ever more useful and essential. How do we perceive the falsehood? Even in those we worship or would like to worship, or even in ourselves. I love you.